गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गजाननं भूतगणादिसेवितं कपित्तजम्बूफलचारुभक्षणम् उमासुतं शोकविनाशकारकं नमामि विघ्नेश्वरपादपङ्कजम्। सरस्वती महाभागे विद्ये कमललोचने विद्यारूपे विशालाक्षी विद्यां देहि नमोऽस्तु ते। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटं नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितं लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारतपङ्कजं कलिमलप्रध्वंसि न श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। गीताशास्त्रमिदं पुण्यं यः पठेत् प्रयतः पुमान् विष्णोः पदमवाप्नोति भयशोकविवर्जितः गीताध्ययनशीलस्य प्राणायामपरस्य च नैव सन्ति हि पापानि पूर्वजन्मकृतानि च मलनिर्मोचनं पुंसां जलस्नानं दिने दिने सकृद्गीताम्भसि स्नानं संसारमलनाशनं गीतासु गीता कर्तव्या किमन्यैः शास्त्रविस्तरैः या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुखपद्माद्विनिसृता भारतामृतसर्वस्वं विष्णोर्वक्त्राद्विनिसृतं गीता गङ्गोदकं पीत्वा पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् एकं शास्त्रं देवकीपुत्रगीतमेको देवो देवकीपुत्र एव एको मन्त्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि कर्माप्येकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभांगं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिभिर्ध्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णुं भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथं यं ब्रह्मा वरुणीन्द्ररुद्रमरुतस्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैर्गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः। यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णो यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयो भूतिः ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम। यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं च यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देवनारायण नमोऽस्तु ते। कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि। महापापादिपापानि गीताध्ययनं करोति चेत् क्वचित् स्पर्शं न कुर्वन्ति नलिनीदलम् अम्बुवत्। गीतायाः पुस्तकं यत्र यत्र पाठः प्रवर्तते तत्र सर्वाणि तीर्थानि प्रयागादीनि तत्र वै यत्र गीताविचारश्च पठनं पाठनं श्रुतं तत्र अहं निश्चितं पृथ्वीं निवसामि सदैव हि। चिदानन्देन कृष्णेन प्रोक्ता स्वमुखतोऽर्जुन वेदत्रयी परानन्दा तत्त्वार्थज्ञानसंयुता। 18 जपेन्नित्यं नरो निश्चलमानसः ज्ञानसिद्धिं स लभते ततो याति परं पदम्। गीतार्थं ध्यायते नित्यं कृत्वा कर्माणि भूरिशः जीवन्मुक्तः स विज्ञेयो देहान्ते परमं पदम्। मन्दारगन्धसंयुक्तं चारुहासं चतुर्भुजं बर्हि पिच्छावचूडाङ्गं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रुक्मिणीकेलिसंयुक्तं पीताम्बरसुशोभितम् अवाप्ततुलसीगन्धं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। उत्फुल्लपद्मपत्राक्षं नीलजीमूतसन्निभं यादवानां शिरोरत्नं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। अस्तु. So today we have to start with the 14th shloka of the 4th adhyaya, page number 207 in Geetha Pravesha book 2. Murti Mahodaya patitum ichchati va?
Padisumichami. Padisumichami. Just 1 minute. This is page number 206. Chaturvanyam Maya Suttam. That one only, no?
207, 14th. We've completed the Chaturvarnyam yesterday.
Okay. Then next one. Next which shloka? Shloka number?
14. Namam.
Okay. Namam karmani लिप्यन्ति न मे कर्मफले स्पृहा इति मां यः अभिजानाति कर्माभिः न स बध्यते। पदविभागं न मां कर्माणि लिप्यन्ति न मे कर्मफलं स्पृहा इति कर्मफलं स्पृहा कर्मफले स्पृहा इति मां यः अभिजानाति कर्मभिः न सह बध्यते। पदपरिचय ना इज अव्यय माम अस्मत् शब्द द्वितीय विभक्ति एकवचनम कर्माणि कर्मण शब्द नपुंसकलिंग कर्माणि बहुवचन प्रथमा विभक्ति लिम लिम लिम्प्यन्ति लिम्प्यन् लिम्पन्ति लिम्प धातु लट् लकार बहुवचन प्रथम पुरुष बहुवचन न अव्यय लिम्पन्ति लिम्प लिम्प
नास्ति लिप् लिप् धातु
लिप् ओन्ली लिप् इज धातु ओके न अव्यय मे अगेन अस्मत् शब्द मे मम में दट इज षष्ठी विभक्ति एकवचन कर्मफले कर्मफले इज कर्मफलम दट इज नपुंसकलिंग सप्तमी विभक्ति एकवचनम स्पृहा स्पृहा इज आकारांत शब्द सो आई फील दैट इट इज स्त्रीलिंग प्रथम पुरुष स्त्रीलिंग एकवचन
प्रथमा विभक्ति
प्रथमा विभक्ति एकवचन इति अव्यय माम अगेन अस्मत् शब्द द्वितीय विभक्ति एकवचन यह अगेन यह इज of course pullinga प्रथम पुरुष प्रथमा विभक्ति एकवचन शब्द यह शब्द यत् शब्द ओके ओके आई फॉरगॉट यत् अभिजानाति अभि उपसर्ग जानाति दैट इज लट् लकार वर्तमान प्रथम पुरुष एकवचन कर्मभिः दैट इज कर्मभिः नेक्स्ट वन इज कर्मभिः ओनली नो कर्मभिः कर्मभिः कर्मण शब्द तृतीय विभक्ति बहुवचन तृतीय विभक्ति बहुवचन न इज कर्मभिः न इज अगेन अव्यय सा सह तद शब्द पुल्लिंग एकवचन प्रथमा विभक्ति बध्यते बध्यते इज अगेन लट् लकार बध्यते इज एक्चुअली इट इज इन कर्मणि लट् लकार प्रथम पुरुष एकवचन
it is atmanepadi and
आत्मनेपदी आत्मनेपदी only but बध्यते okay because ya has come as a samyuktashara I thought it is karmani that is like that I thought likhyate pathyate badhyate I thought like that I thought that is why I said like that. Okay, now anvaya shall I read it?
Please read Mahodaya.
माम कर्माणि न लिम्पन्ति कर्मफले मे स्पृहा नास्ति इति यः माम अभिजानाति सः कर्मभिः न बध्यते सः कर्मभिः न बध्यते so बध्यते is here in सः कर्मभिः न बध्यते
it is a
कर्तृप्रयोग और कर्मप्रयोग सह कर्मभिः न बध्यते
in kartari also badhyate, right? Wait,
सह कर्मभिः न बध्यते
कर्मभिः अस्ति खलु मान्य अतः कर्मणि एव भवेत् खलु
कर्मणि एव yes सः कर्मभिः न बध्यते so कर्मणि एव
कर्मणि प्रयोग ओके पदार्थः माम कर्माणि व्यापाराः न लिम्पन्ति न स्पृशन्ति मे मम कर्मफले कर्मसिद्धौ स्पृहा न इति आशा न इति यः actually spruha na iti means asha na iti or nasha na asti.
Priha here also means like desire, like
Okay.
akanksha.
No, asha na iti means na asti, or in this sense, actually there is spruha na iti means asha na asti. Na asti. Na asti. No, though it is used in the iti as avyaya, but in actually मम अभिरुचिः नास्ति, काङ्क्षा नास्ति. यः माम् अभिजानाति वेत्ति सः स पुरुषः कर्मभिः क्रियाभिः न बध्यते, बद्धः न भवति. न आकांक्षा. न लिम्पन्ति न स्पृहा. लिम्पन्ति is this one, that is in first pada, the limpanti is the kriya padam. Abhijanati is the kriya pada in second pada. Na limpanti na spruha. Kani na limpanti, kasmin na spruha, karmani na limpanti. Karma pale na spruha. कर्माणि कम न लिम्पन्ति, कर्मफले कस्य न स्पृहा. कर्माणि मां न लिम्पन्ति, कर्मफले मे न स्पृहा. कर्माणि मां न लिम्पन्ति, कर्मफले मे न स्पृहा इति किं करोति. कर्मणि मां न लिम्पन्ति, कर्मफले मे न स्पृहा इति अभिजानाति. कर्माणि मां न लिम्पन्ति, कर्मफले मे न स्पृहा इति कम अभिजानाति. इति माम अभिजानाति. कर्मणि मां न लिम्पन्ति, कर्मफले मे स्पृहा इति यः याम अभिजानाति तस्य किं भवति. इति यः माम् अभिजानाति सः न बध्यते. यः माम् अभिजानाति सः कैः न बध्यते, सः कर्मभिः न बध्यते. तात्पर्यं. But I have made only the last sentence of the last part of the sentence only I have read. तात्पर्यं. Shall I read it or shall I stop it or continue? कर्मफलेषु मम आशा नास्ति, अतः कर्माचरणस्य आवश्यकता नास्ति इति ये मां यथार्थम् अवगच्छन्ति तेऽपि कर्मभिः बद्धाः न भवन्ति. व्याकरणं. संधिः. योऽभिजानाति, यः प्लस अभिजानाति, विसर्ग सकारः रेफः उकारः गुण पूर्वरूपा. कर्मभिर्न, कर्मभिः प्रश्न विसर्ग संधि रेफा. स बध्यते, सः प्लस बध्यते विसर्ग संधि विसर्गलोपा. समासः. कर्मफले कर्मणां फलं तस्मिन् षष्ठी तत्पुरुष.
So atra limpanti pratamam kriyapadam, atra kartrupadam.
कर्तृपदं कर्माणि.
कर्मपदं.
कर्मपदं माम्.
So na limpanti iti kriyapadam, karmani
मां न लिम्पन्ति.
Means the karmas that I do not touch me.
Do not touch me.
They do not, I am not attached to them. In that sense, they do not touch me. Whatever I do, I have no association with them. Anantaram.
Me कर्मफले स्पृहा न अस्ति. अस्ति is अध्याहारः here. कर्मफले मे स्पृहा नास्ति.
So atra kartrupadam kim?
कर्मफलं. कर्मफल.
Karma
That
phale.
is karma phale is because it's Saptami Bhakti, I said that as karma phala. Okay. Karma phala is the, okay, Prathama Bhakti. But karma phala is the Prathama Bhakti, karma phala is Saptami Bhakti, that way I could not say which is the Kartrupada.
Spruha na asti.
Spruha. Karma phale spruha me na asti. Karma phale spruha. Spruha is the Kartrupada. Kasmin
Spruha is
spruha, karma phale spruha. Yes,
karma
spruha is the
phale.
Kartrupada.
Karma phale
Okay.
will be adhikaranam, vishayadhikaranam.
Vishayadhikaranam. Okay.
Anantaram iti
Atantram iti
yaha
mam
abhijanati.
mam yaha abhijanati sa karmabhi na badhyate.
So here, because iti is there, we can take all of this as vakya karma to abhijanati.
Okay.
We can also take this whole sentence. Me spruha karma phale na asti. Iti yaha mam janati.
Mam janati saha karmabhi na
Na
badhyate.
So that yaha and saha yat tad nitya sambandha will be there. So here yaha will be the kartrupadam for abhijanati. Mam will be karmapadam to abhijanati. And in the second part, again, saha will be kartrupadam. It will be the karmapadam because here it is in karmani.
Karmabhi sa na badhyate.
Saha karmabhihi na badhyate. So saha will be karmapadam, karmabhihi will be the kartrupadam, and badhyate will be. But one question I have, badhyate is in ekavachana. And karmabhihi, 1 second.
Karmabhi na badhyate. No problem.
Yes. Karmabhihi saha na badhyate. Karmabhihi will be kartrupadam, saha will be karmapadam, badhyate is the karmani prayoga kriyapadam. So I am not touched by
actually we can tell the second sentence as karma pale me naspruha iti mam yaha abhijanati saha karmabhi
na
na badhyate.
Uttama. So here what we have to understand is 1 second. Yeah. So here in this shloka, what is whatever we discussed in the previous shloka, the same is being told here. So I am not touched by any of the karyas or any of the karmas that I do. So though I appear like the karta, because of this creation, I have created this creation. Though I appear like that to you all, I am still not considered as karta. Why? Because I don't have the phalakanksha. He who does a kriya or a karma with the phalakanksha, only he is considered as the karta of that kriya or of that karma. Since I am not touched by any of the karmas that I do, and I do not have any spriha, means akanksha, desire, asha, anything you can take for spriha. Since I do not have the spriha in karma phala, so he who understands that will also not be touched by the karmas. So just by understanding this, just by knowing that Paramatma is not touched by the karmas, he does not have desire in the karma phala, how can one also be free from the karmas? So that question also can be there. That itself is understanding the tattvam of the Paramatma. So by understanding the tattvam of the Paramatma, automatically we will also try to do the same. We also will try to detach ourselves from the karmas that we do, and we have to stop having the akanksha or the desire towards the phalakanksha that we do. So for this, there are several examples that the Pravachanakaras quote, because like I always say, or like it is always said, just listening to somebody explain something is a little different than practically seeing somebody do that. So that is the reason why even many people, even after attaining siddhi, they are still on the earth. Why? Because to set an example to others. So we can take a few such examples like the Surya. Now here the Surya Bhagavan, because of him, we are able to see so many things which are good as well as which are bad. So is he the karta of all that? So by showing the good things, is he gaining some punyam? And by showing the bad things that are happening in this world, is he accruing any sin? No, he is untouched by all that. Why? Because he is just being himself. His quality is to prakasham. So he is only giving out the prakasham, which is his swabhava. And in that prakasham, we are able to see both good and bad. But it does not mean he is glowing or he is emanating out this prakasham to show us this. That is not his intention. But just by being himself, we are able to see certain things. But it does not mean he is doing that on purpose. He is not coming or rising every day to show us certain things or to not show or to show the good and bad or whatever. So, like how he is untouched. Even with air also, we can think like that only, by the wind. As it is passing by a flower garden, it will carry the fragrance. And as it is passing by some gutter, it will also bring that bad foul smell. But is it the intention of that wind to bring that? No, it is just being itself. But sometimes the good will spread and sometimes the bad will spread. But that is not what it wants to do, and it is not touched by all that. It is just doing, it is maintaining its swabhava. Similarly, water. Similarly, anything that we take in these, especially these three of the Panchabhutas, they do that, right? So similarly, we have to also look at such examples and see that though they are doing the karmas or certain karmas are happening because of their existence, still they are not touched. Like that, even we have to be. So how can again how will we how to be disconnected, or where is this attachment coming from? This attachment is coming from because we are thinking that atma and sharira are one and the same. We know that they are not the same, but still we, in our vyavahara, we are behaving as though they are one and the same. We keep saying mama shariram, mama, everything we are considering it as ours. But we know that this shariram is different, atma is different, we know, but still. So whatever this sharira is doing, or whatever karmas it is doing, only the sharira is attached to it. Why? Because we need that sharira to do those karmas. But the atma which is there, that is in no way connected to these to this sharira or the karmas that it is doing. Why? Because the sharira and the karmas that we are doing are trigunatmika, whereas the atma is untouched by these trigunas. It is untouched by the trigunas. So that we have to understand. And because of that, this kartrutvam is coming. So the doubt is, how can we not take the kartrutvam? How can I say, like Krishna said, I created this srishti, but I am not the karta. But we all, whatever we are doing, automatically I am only doing this work. So how can I not be karta? This question will arise. How can I not be karta? I am the one who is doing this, right? And that happens because of this confusion that Shariram and Atma are one and the same. We are in that confusion because of the Maya. And that is why this Kartrutvam, automatically we think we are the Kartas. And why are again we are thinking that we are the Kartrutvam? Because of the desire, because we are doing something, some karma, and that phalakanksha is there. So automatically the Kartrutvam happens. If there is no phalakanksha, then the Kartrutvam also will not happen. And for this, there is another story, a small story that was told. The reason why we have so many stories given in our Puranas and all are for us to relate to how to consider this philosophy and how to understand this philosophy and how to put it into action. There is this lady called Madalasa who is a dancer and a singer, like in a good way. So she learns music and dance, and one time a Guruji or a Swamiji will be passing by. He will see her, and such Gurujis or Swamijis can realize when a human has attained Siddhi. So this lady, Madalasa, has already attained Siddhi, but she doesn't realize that. She will be just going on with her daily life. So it is also the duty of this Swamijis to let them know that they have attained Siddhi, or they have to do certain things when they see a Siddhi. So he will go and place his hand on her head. And that minute, when the Swamiji places his hand on the head, she will see in a flash all of her past lives, and she will realize that she has attained Siddhi. Until then, she was not aware of it. But when the Guruji does that, she attains a Siddhi. So then she says, now that she realized that she has attained Siddhi, she will say, okay, now since I have already attained Siddhi, I don't have to live my regular life. I will just go and lead a simple life in a forest or whatever. But the Swamiji says, no, you still have certain responsibilities here. So you still have to get married and give birth to some children and all that. Maybe because those children have something to do. They also have a past, and they need to also what do you say, prakshalanam of their sins from the previous births and all. Just by being born to her, maybe that is possible. So the Swamiji says, no, you still have certain things to be done. So you have to stay here only. You cannot go into the forest and perform meditation and all. So then she will stay. And then a king comes along. He will see her, he will like her, and he will marry her. So her duty is, okay, since the Swamiji, my Guruji said that I have to continue living regular life, she will accept the king's proposal. She will marry him. But since she has already attained that siddhi, she is not touched by any of the karmas. She will do her duty. Whenever the king is home, she will perform her duty as a wife. She will be serving him food and everything. But the minute the king leaves for the court, she will become very, how do you say, non-responsive. She will simply be sitting there like, nothing can disturb her. Nothing. She doesn't bother about anything. But when the king comes back, she will again be very lively and will serve him and all. She will do all her duties as a wife. So then when they will start having children. With the first child, she will be, when she's, putting him to sleep or just playing with him and all, she will be singing some songs which are all philosophical. So by the time the child turns 4 or 5, he will come to the king, and the king will want to send him to some guru for Vidyabhyasam. And then the child will say, no, I want to go to the forest. Why do you want to go to the forest? Yes, what is there in all this, the kingdom and all this? I am not interested in all this. This is all Maya. This is not Shashvatam. So I don't want all this. I just want to go to the forest. Before the king recovers from the shock, the child will have already gone to the forest and he will be performing tapas. That will happen with 3 kids in a row. So then the king will be surprised, and what is actually happening? Why are all my kids doing like this? So he will find out that his wife is singing songs that are so philosophical that the children have become like that. So then what will become of my successor? How will I have a successor if everybody doesn't want the kingdom and if they go into the forest? So then he will tell the queen, see, you cannot sing such songs to the child. So, and she, because she has to obey her husband as a wife, she will not sing any songs with that 4th child. So that child will grow and he will grow in the kingdom itself, and he's ready to become a king. So at that point of time, the queen and the king will be ready to leave to the forest, because back in those days, they were very clear about their duties. They know that raising a child is only until they are capable of living independently, and that time they will just leave and go. They don't hang on to the kids, even through their jobs, through their marriage, raising the grandkids. All this is not there. They will simply leave. So they are ready to leave. But the prince will ask, so what if I am not able to perform my duties well? What if I have any confusion? What should I do? He will ask his mother. Then she will write something on a piece of paper, give it to him, and she will say, you read this only when necessary. Don't read it right now. Only when it is necessary, you read. So he will keep it with him, and at one point of time, he will face a problem, which is really, a very big problem. So then he will remember his mother's words and he will read that. So in that also, what she has written is, you do your job or whatever is expected from you to be done as a king. don't expect anything in return. And then she will also ask him to meet some guru, I think, or he already has a guru or something. So after he goes and meets the guru also will say the same thing. So he will understand how to handle any problem that comes our way. We have to do our best and not be worried about it. So here this lady's example is, she has already attained Siddhi, but she was asked to lead this life for certain responsibilities. So with what kind of detachment? See, she will be raising the kids, but she's not worried about the result. She did what she thought was the best. Sometimes even the king would ask her for some advice. She would give advice, but she will not follow up with, did you do what I asked you to do? She's not worried about that. What she thinks the best, she advises. So when we come across such people, we can understand how this detachment can be practiced. Even as what in every work that we do, we have to think what is the right thing to do about it and go about it without any kind of expectation. See, I told you to do this, but you did not do this. Why did you not do this? You have no respect for me. All such things should not happen. We have to, when we are asked only, we have to give advice to start with. And otherwise, when the children are incapable of making their own decisions, that time we can advise them, whether they ask or not, we can at least advise to some extent. But once they are of a certain age, only when we are asked to, we can advise them. Because even Krishna says, even with philosophy or spirituality, not everybody is ready for that. Only when they are ready for that, only then the learned people should advise them on how to move forward in the spiritual path. Similarly, with everything, the same will apply. Only when they are ready to understand what we are saying. And after, sometimes they might be making some grave mistakes which will affect them seriously, but still there is nothing we can do. Why? Because they have to learn it the hard way. So that is how we can practice that detachment towards the work we do, and not having the phalakanksha. Not having the phalakanksha is even more important than being detached. Why? Because the attachment comes with that phalakanksha only. So the minute we try to detach ourselves from the phalakanksha, then automatically the detachment towards the kriya or the karma also will happen. But at the same time, some people will think, if I'm not going to have any phalakanksha, why should I even do this work in the first place, right? So basically that also should not be there. We have to do the karmas that we are supposed to do, which are our responsibility, with utmost shraddha. For that also there is a small story that is told. Like a king is there, he has 3 ministers. He will send all the 3 to the forest and he will say, you pick good fruits and bring them back to me. So then the ministers will go, all 3 of them will go to the forest. So the first minister will strictly obey what the king has ordered. The king has ordered me to bring very good fruits, so let me bring good fruits. And he will pick the best fruits and he will bring. In the bag, he will keep. The second person, he will think, okay, whatever the king says, why should I do? He won't even have time to check what I brought back. I can go and say, yes, I brought whatever you asked me to bring. So he will pick randomly whatever is there, some good fruits, some spoiled fruits, some fruits which are fallen on the ground. So all kinds he will pick and put in the bag. Now the third person is even more careless. He doesn't even pick any fruits. He will pick some grass and dried leaves on the ground, and he will put it in the bag, and they will come back. Once they come back, they will send a message to the king saying, we went to the forest and we came back. We brought what you asked us to bring. So then what the king does is, he will send a soldier and he will tell, you take those 3 ministers through to 3 different rooms. Okay, where there is nothing else. The room is empty. You just put the 3 ministers in the 3 rooms and lock them up for the next 3 days. So they will be locked up in the next 3 days. So the king will say, I asked you to bring good fruits. So whatever you brought, you survive on that for the next 3 days. So the first person who has very sincerely obeyed to the king has a collection of very good fruits. So he eats those and he survives those 3 days very easily. Now the second person, he has all mixed. Some are good, some are bad, and all. So he doesn't have enough enough number of fruits to put him through those 3 days. If he eats the rotten ones, he will get stomach upset. So he has to face the consequence of what he has done. And the third minister, he brought only dried leaves. He did not even bring one fruit. So 3 days he has to survive. If he comes out and says, I did not do what you asked me to do, he will be punished. So he cannot say anything, but he has to deal with it. So it is like that only. So why did they do that? All the three of them didn't know that they are going to eat what they bring. They didn't know that. They thought whatever we bring, we have to hand it over to the king's people, and whatever needs to be done will be done. Right? If they had known beforehand that they are going to survive on what they bring, then maybe all three of them would have brought back good fruits which they can use. But only because they thought they are not going to be of any use. Whatever they bring is of no use to them personally. That is the reason why they had that carelessness, right? So similarly, even when we are doing our kriyas or karmas, if we think, if we are not supposed to have the phalakanksha, if I have nothing to do with the phalam of this karma that I do, then why should I even do it? And even if I do, why should I put in so much of my time and energy to do it correctly with the shraddha? If you think like that and do the karmas, then you will also get the same result as these three ministers. So the karmas have to be done with utmost shraddha. But you should not have phalakanksha. You should not get attached. But even then, you have to do. Like Sri Rama. How does Sri Ramachandra do? He does everything that has been assigned to him with utmost shraddha, but he has no kind of any kind of attachment to it. Similarly, here also you have to do in that way. So these are the things that we need to keep in mind, which are quoted as examples to us to understand why. Because this question comes up to many people, especially these days. Nobody or not many people are doing things without having any expectation. Even when they offer any kind of help to family or friends or others, they have some kind of expectation in their mind. Now, having some kind of expectation is okay, if they do not act upon it. But when the time comes and if their expectation is not satisfied, or if it is not honored by those other people, they get angry, and they start picking a fight with those people. See, that day I did this to you, but you are not doing anything in return. Such things come up, which is not good for the person who is picking up the fight, and for people around him, especially to the person who has that expectations. So that is the reason why this is how we can relate to our daily life. Even in our daily life, we come across this all the time. We see people having expectations, whatever little help or whatever they do, they have some kind of expectation in return. Some people will be very obvious about it, straightforward, and ask you right away. Some people might be very subtle about it, but they will have such expectations in the mind. So that will only trouble us later, because the other person may or may not be in a position to help you when you need it. So that is the reason why we should not have any expectation, because that will only leave us sad or angry when we do not receive it. Okay, so whether if we are doing anything for anybody, we have to forget it then and there itself. If you have the Shakti to do, but forget about it. If you don't have the Shakti to do, you can tell the same. I sincerely do not have the energy or the financial status or whatever it is, whatever help the other person expects out of you. If you do not have the Shakti to do that, you need not do it. But if you have the Shakti, do it, but without any kind of expectation in return. Only then we can follow the path of the Paramatma. Otherwise, it will be difficult for us. That is how we can restrain ourselves from getting attached to the karmas by not having any expectation in the phalakanksha. So that is the That is the meaning of this shloka. And another thing is why will we not be punished if somebody does something bad, like Arjuna? He is worried that in the very first adhyaya, he says, if I go ahead and fight this war and kill all my people, won't I be accruing sin? No, you won't be accruing sin if you are doing it as a duty of a Kshatriya to protect your country. But if you are doing out of spite, if you are angry, like Duryodhana, he has grudge on Bhima, on Arjuna. So with that grudge, he is acting. So if you act with grudge on the other person and then you do it, then definitely you will accrue sin. But if you are doing it only as a duty, then no sin will touch you. So that is another thing. So that is the saramsham of this shloka. And here we have all the visarga sandhis and samasa karma phale, karmanam phalam, shashti tatpurusha. And the word itself is in saptami vibhakti. So karma phaleshu mama asha nasti, ataha karmacharanasya avashyakata nasti. इति ये मां यथार्थम् अवगच्छन्ति ते अपि कर्मभिः बद्धाः न भवन्ति. कर्माचरणस्य आवश्यकता नास्ति. See, there is no compulsion for me to do this. I am doing only for you. I have no compulsion. I don't have any desire in this. So that is how it is meant. Okay, any questions in this shloka? Okay, so the next shloka, Subbarao Mahodaya, Pustakam अस्ति वा इदानीं?
अस्ति महोदय, PDF मिला,
अस्ति वा?
डाउनलोड करके रखा। एवं ज्ञात्वा कृतं कर्म पूर्वैरपि मुमुक्षुभिः कुरु कर्मैव तस्मात् त्वं पूर्वैः पूर्वतरं कृतं। पदच्छेदः एवं ज्ञात्वा कृतं कर्म पूर्वैः अपि मुमुक्षुभिः कुरु कर्मैव तस्मात् त्वं पूर्वैः पूर्वतरं कृतं।
Tasmat tvam. Those two are separate.
Hmm?
You read tasmat tvam. You read them together. Those also are tasmat is one word, tvam is another word.
तस्मात् त्वं. Okay. पदपरिचयः एवं is द्वितीय एकवचनं.
Evam is avyayam.
एवम् अव्ययम्. ओके. ज्ञात्वा त्वापरिचयं ज्ञात्वा कृतं is
also is kta pratyaya kru dhatoh kta pratyaya.
कृ धातोः त्वापरिचयः तापरिचयः कृतं. कर्म is
Karman nakaranta napumsaklinga.
नपुंसकलिंग कर्मन् शब्दः. कर्म प्रथम एकवचनम् अंडी.
द्वितीया विभक्ति एकवचनम्.
द्वितीया विभक्ति एकवचनं कर्म. पूर्वैः अपि. पूर्वैः.
Actually, you can take it as prathama vibhakti only. Why? Because here kritam is in karmani. So mumukshubihi karma kritam. So karma we can take it as prathama ekavachanam.
प्रथमा एकवचनं कर्म. पूर्वैः अपि. पूर्वैः. पूर्वैः is पूर्वैः.
पूर्वा शब्द अकारांत पुंलिंग.
पूर्वा शब्द अकारांत पुंलिंग. प्रथम एकवचनं.
तृतीया बहुवचनं पूर्वैः रामैः.
पूर्वैः द्वितीया बहुवचनं. पूर्वैः. तृतीया बहुवचनं पूर्वैः. ओके. अपि अव्ययम् अंडी. अपि
अव्ययम्. या
अव्ययम्. मुमुक्षुभिः. मुमुक्षु शब्दः तृतीय बहुवचनं.
तृतीया विभक्ति बहुवचनम् उकारान्त पुंलिंग.
कुरु कुरु
कृ धातोः लोट् लकार मध्यमपुरुष एकवचनं
लट्लकार मध्यम पुरुष ఏకవచనం అండి
लोट् लकार मध्यमपुरुष एकवचनं
लोट् लकार मध्यम पुरुष ఏకవచనం कुरु कर्म कर्मैव
कर्म सेपरेट एव सेपरेट सो कर्म इज
सेपरेट कर्म इज द्वितीय ఏకవచనం कर्मण शब्दం एव अव्ययम् तस्मात् त्वं तस्मात् इज तत्शब्द पंचमी ఏకవచనం
करेक्ट
त्वम् इज युष्मत् शब्दं मध्यम पुरुष ఏకవచనం
प्रथम पुरुष एकवचनम् ओन्ली प्रथमा विभक्ति एकवचनं नाट् पुरुष प्रथमा विभक्ति एकवचनं
युष्मत् शब्द पूर्वैः पूर्वशब्दः तृतीय बहुवचनं पूर्वतरं अगेन द्वितीय एकवचनं
पूर्वतरम् इज नपुंसकलिंग प्रथमा विभक्ति एकवचनम् इज तरप् एंड तमप् प्रत्ययम् तरप् प्रत्ययम्
कृतं
अगेन कृ धातोः कृ धातोः क्त प्रत्ययम्
कृ धातोः क्त प्रत्ययं कृतम्
ओके
पदार्थः नपुंसकलिङ्गम् पदार्थः एवं इत्थं ज्ञात्वा विज्ञाय पूर्वैः प्राचीनैः मुमुक्षुभिः अपि मोक्षार्थिभिः अपि कर्म कृतं कर्म आचरितं तस्मात् ततः पूर्वैः प्राचीनैः कृतम् आचरितं कर्म एव क्रियाम् एव पूर्वतरम् अतिशयेन पूर्वां कुरु आचार अन्वयः एवं ज्ञात्वा पूर्वैः मुमुक्षुभिः अपि कर्म कृतं तस्मात् पूर्वैः कृतं पूर्वतरं कर्म एव कुरु आकांक्षा कृतं किं कृतं कर्म कृतं कैः कर्म कृतं मुमुक्षुभिः कर्म कृतं कीदृशैः मुमुक्षुभिः अपि कर्म कृतं पूर्वैः अपि मुमुक्षुभिः कर्म कृतं किं कृत्वा पूर्वैः अपि मुमुक्षुभिः कर्म कृतं ज्ञात्वा पूर्वैः अपि मुमुक्षुभिः कर्म कृतं कथं ज्ञात्वा पूर्वैः अपि मुमुक्षुभिः कर्म कृतं एवं ज्ञात्वा पूर्वैः अपि मुमुक्षुभिः कर्म कृतं एवं ज्ञात्वा पूर्वैः अपि मुमुक्षुभिः कर्म कृतं तेन किम् एवं ज्ञात्वा पूर्वैः अपि मुमुक्षुभिः कर्म कृतं तस्मात् त्वं कुरु एवं ज्ञात्वा पूर्वैः अपि मुमुक्षुभिः कर्म कृतं तस्मात् त्वं किं कुरु एवं ज्ञात्वा पूर्वैः अपि मुमुक्षुभिः कर्म कृतं तस्मात् त्वं कर्म एव कुरु एवं ज्ञात्वा पूर्वैः अपि मुमुक्षुभिः कर्म कृतं तस्मात् त्वं कीदृशं कर्म एव कुरु एवं ज्ञात्वा पूर्वैः अपि मुमुक्षुभिः कर्म कृतं तस्मात् त्वं कृतं कर्म एव कुरु एवं ज्ञात्वा पूर्वैः अपि मुमुक्षुभिः कर्म कृतं तस्मात् त्वं कैः कृतं कर्म एव कुरु एवं ज्ञात्वा पूर्वैः अपि मुमुक्षुभिः कर्म कृतं तस्मात् त्वं पूर्वैः कृतं कर्म एव कुरु एवं ज्ञात्वा पूर्वैः अपि मुमुक्षुभिः कर्म कृतं तस्मात् त्वं पूर्वैः कृतं कीदृशं कर्म एव कुरु एवं ज्ञात्वा पूर्वैः अपि मुमुक्षुभिः कर्म कृतं तस्मात् त्वं पूर्वैः कृतं पूर्वतरं कर्म एव कुरु तात्पर्यं कर्मफलेच्छारहितं पुरुषं कर्माणि न लिम्पन्ति इत्थं ज्ञात्वा प्राचीनकाले मुमुक्षुभिः पुरुषैः कर्म आचरितम् अतः भवान् अपि प्राचीनैः यथा कर्म कृतं तथा कर्म आचरेत् व्याकरणं सन्धिः पूर्वैरपि पूर्वैः प्लस् अपि विसर्गसन्धि रेपः कर्मैव कर्मा प्लस् एव वृद्धिसन्धि कृदन्तः ज्ञात्वा ज्ञा प्लस् त्वा सन्नन्तः मुमुक्षुभिः मुच् धातु प्लस् सन् इच्छार्थे प्लस् उ कर्तरि मोक्तुम् इच्छवः तैः तद्धितान्तः पूर्वतरं पूर्वा प्लस् तरप् अतिशये अतिशयेन पूर्वम्
So atra kriyapadaani kaani?
क्रियाफलं क्रियापदानि कृतमंडि कृतं
Kritam. Dvitiyam?
द्वितीयं कुरु
Kuru. So prathamam kritam iti kriyapadasya kartrupadam kim?
कर्म
Karma kritam. Kena kritam karma or kaihi kritam karma?
मुमुक्षुभिः
Mumukshubihi.
मुमुक्षुभिः
Ataha mumukshubihi iti kartrupadam.
मुमुक्षु
Karma iti karmapadam.
कर्मपदं
Mumukshubihi karma kim jnatva kritam? Evam.
पूर्वैः एवं ज्ञात्वा
Means or kidrisham mumukshubihi purvaihi mumukshubihi.
पूर्वैः
So mumukshubihi is those who would like to attain moksha. But so many people are there who would like to attain moksha, but purvaihi mumukshubihi means in the past also, there are so many people who wanted to attain moksha. They also, knowing this, evam jnatva purvaihi mumukshubihi karma kritam means like people like Janakadayaha. Okay, they also want to attain moksha. So, but they know all this. What did they know? That we have to do the karmas without any kind of phalakanksha, and only then we can attain moksha. So from back in those days itself, there were people who desired moksha, but knowing this, they can attain moksha or siddhi or nirvanam, any of these, only by doing the karmas without any phalakanksha and without any attachment towards the karma. So evam jnatva purvaihi mumukshubihi api karma kritam. They also have done the karmas knowing this only. So it is not you who are the first person who is doing this. There have been many people in the past who followed the same path. Okay, that is the first part of the sentence. Second kriyapadam kuru. Atra kartrupadam kim?
तस्मात्
Tasmat na. Kuru iti madhyama purushe asti. Ataha kartrupadam kim bhavitum arhati?
त्वं
Tvam kuru. Tvam kim kuru? Karma kuru.
कर्म कुरु
Tasmat is hetu. Hetu means andukani. Like that is why. Hence, in that sense. So in the past also, there are so many people who desired moksha, who did their karmas, knowing this, knowing that they have to do without any phalakanksha. Hence, you also purvaihi kritam karma kuru. Like how they have done, how your ancestors have done the karmas. Okay, like that, in the same way, purvataram. Purvataram means here the taram pratyaya is used to show the superlative. Means like in the past of the past. Okay, like how they have done, in that same sense. Okay, in that same sense, you also do. Like how they have done. Like how the most ancestors of yours have done. In the same way, you also do the karmas. So here purvataram means atishayena purvam, means baga in the very back, in the going back very long. how the mumukshubhihi have done, like that you also do your karmas. That is the meaning
Yes.
of the second part of the sentence. So here again, so how do all these people do without any attachment? One more example is given. You all know, you all have studied the Pravesha, Parishaya, Shiksha and Kovida. I think in Shiksha or Kovida we studied this Raghuvamsha. Raghuvamsha story, Kavya Katha. Under Kavya Katha we have studied. So there you must remember the story of Raghu Maharaja, where this Kautsa, who is a Shishya of Varatantu Mahamuni, Varatantu Muni's disciple, Kautsa will come to Raghu Maharaja for help. Why does he come for help? Because he, after completing his studies, Guru will give him blessings. Varatantu Muni will give him blessings and ask him, now you are ready to go into the society and lead your life. You have completed your education. So then this Kautsa will ask, I want to give some Guru Dakshina to you because I have completed my studies. He will say, see, I don't expect anything as a Guru Dakshina. You follow all my teachings and you lead a dharmika life. That itself, I will be happy. But Kautsa will repeatedly ask, no, I want to offer some Guru Dakshina. You ask. So then Varatantu Muni will get a little irritated. So he will say, okay, I have taught you for so many years or like 14 years or 14 kinds of sciences or whatever. So you give me 14 crores. 14 crores of whatever the currency is at that time. So then now he is in a fix. How can he bring that kind of money? So then back in those days, all the people used to depend upon the kings. So he will go straight to Raghu Maharaja to ask help. But then what is the story of Raghu Maharaja by then? As soon as he is throned as the king, what he does is he will occupy, or he will go and defeat all his enemies. And whenever they defeat the enemies, they will get money from their koshas, right? From the opponent's koshas. And but he is again, all the Raghuvamsha Maharajas are very selfless. So whatever they get, whatever he got from winning those wars, he will perform a what is that yaga called? I think it is Shatrajitta, Vishwajit Yaga. He will do a Vishwajit Yaga and he will give away everything that he has acquired by fighting these wars, because he has no desire over the wealth of those. As a king, he needs to protect his kingdom, he needs to expand his kingdom, and if there are any bad kings, they have to take care of the bad kings because they are troubling their people or the neighbors. They have to be dealt with. So as a good king, he had to perform those wars. And whatever money he gained out of those wars, he doesn't want to keep them. So he performs this Visvajit Yaga and he distributes it away to all the poor people. So he is left with nothing. Personal property, nothing. For what the kingdom needs, that is there, but that he cannot touch for his personal use. So he will be using all vessels made out of mud, matti patra. He uses for everything. So now the Kautsa comes there. So then he will greet the Kautsa with this water in a mud pot. So so then Kautsa will understand, okay, this king, he lost everything, he doesn't have anything, so I cannot ask him for help. Where will he bring this 14 crores from? So he will say, okay, I will leave. Then he says, no, you wouldn't have come simply. I want to know what is the purpose of your visit. Then he says, this is what has happened, but apparently I see that you don't have anything with you, so I am going to leave. So then he says, no. A king's duty is to help whoever comes for help. So I have to do whatever is needed, I have to do to help you. You cannot leave. So then he says, okay, this is what I need. So then he will start thinking, how can I get 14 crores now? So he has already performed all the wars. There are nobody left to, fight just for this money. And with good kings, he cannot go for a fight without any good reason. He cannot. So he will be thinking, and then he says, okay, who other than Kubera can have money? So I will go for a war with him. So he will decide that. And back in those days, it is the ritual of the king when he's going for a war. The next day, he has to sleep in the chariot, it seems, on which he will be going to the war. So he will be sleeping that night in that chariot, and then Kubera will be aware of it. And he will think, okay, if Raghu Maharaja comes, I cannot stand his strength. So I will be losing anyways. So why go through all that trouble? This is what he needs. This is the reason why he's coming. So why don't I just give him beforehand? So he will shower so much of money in his Koshagara. And the Koshagara is now filled. It is more than 14 crores. So the next morning, Raghu Maharaja will see that Kubera has already given the money. So he will tell the Kautsa to take money, all the money that has been given. So Kautsa says, the important point what we have to note here is this. Kautsa says, see, I need only 14 crores. That is what I promised to my Guru. So you just give me 14 crores. I don't need the remaining. So then Raghu Maharaja says, what am I going to do with that additional money? I have done this, or I wanted to go on a war with Kubera only for your sake. I don't have any interest in going to war with Kubera. So I don't need that additional money. You take it. After giving it to your Guru, use that remaining for your, to start your life or whatever. Then Kautsa says, no, that is not what I came for. I only came for 14 crores. I'm going to take only 14 crores. So there has been so much of argument between them both about who should take that remaining money for so long. Why? Because both of them had no desire over what is not theirs. Only for performing their duty, what they need. He offered Guru Dakshina. Guru, he asked this kind of money. So it is his responsibility to give that money. That is what he is concerned about. It is because it is his duty to give what the Guru asks for. He's only worried about that 14 crores. Not even a penny for himself. Similarly, Raghu Maharaja also, he is only trying to help who came to him for help. So he doesn't want to do with the rest of the money. Being a king, he can always use that for something else. But he didn't want to even touch it. So, but they did. He did it with utmost Shraddha, right? He wanted to go to Kubera to fight this war, and he did not, hesitate. With all his Shraddha, he did. Even Kautsa also, he tried his best with all his Shraddha to get this money, right? Approaching a king, asking, all this is also, you to ask somebody for help itself will take a lot of courage and self-respect, and all that will be there. So in spite of that, so that is where the Shraddha is about. So when you are committed to do your duty with the Shraddha, there should not be anything. And only in doing your duty, there should not be any personal agenda there. So that is what this story tells us. So in that way, so here all these examples are quoted for our understanding. For our understanding. These days, do we see anything of that? Even if we try to give more than what is needed for somebody, nobody will refuse. They will always find a purpose for it. Whether good or bad, that is a different thing. But we should not have. That is where we can identify our phalakanksha, whether we have phalakanksha or not, whether we are getting attached to the karmas that we are doing or not. So these are the pointers we need to check to test ourselves if we are having any phalakanksha or if we are having any attachment to the karmas. So that we do. So that is another example which was quoted in this context. So here coming to the sandhi, we have purvairapi visarga sandhi refa, karmaiva vriddhi sandhi. Jnatva is swantam of the jna dhatu, and mumukshubhihi is sannanta. You know, no, sannanta icharthe. So ukaranta, much dhatoho sannanta, and then it is in tritiya vibhakti bahuvachanam. Purvataram, it is a tarap pratyaya used in the atishaya superlative. Okay, and here the tatparyam karma phale ichcharahitam purusham karmani na limpanti. That person who does not have any ichcha in the karma phala does not get touched by the karmas. karmani na limpanti. Him, the Purusham, the karmani na limpanti. So here the Kartrupadam is karmani, Purusham will be the karmapadam. Ittam jnatva, knowing this, prachina kale, in the very ancient days, mumukshubhihi, purushaihi, people with the desire of attaining moksha, karma acharitam. By them, the karmas have been practiced with this, knowing this. Okay, knowing this fact. Ataha bhavanapi prachinaihi yatha karma kritam tatha karma acharet. You should also do the karmas like how the prachinas have done. Similarly, you also have to do the karmas. So, purvaihi kritam, purvataram karma, tvam kuru. Okay, so that is the second part of the sentence, meaning of the second part of the sentence. Okay. Any questions in this shloka? Okay. Anantaram, Alivelu Bagini.
आं भगिनि किं कर्म किमकर्मेति कवयोऽप्यत्र मोहिताः तत्ते कर्म प्रवक्ष्यामि ज्ञात्वा मोक्ष्यसे शुभात् किं पदच्छेदः किं कर्म किम् अकर्म इति कवयः अपि अत्र मोहिताः तत् ते कर्म प्रवक्ष्यामि यत् ज्ञात्वा मोक्षसे अशुभात् किं शब्दस्य प्रथमा एकवचनं कर्म कर्म नकारान्त नपुंसकलिंग प्रथमा एकवचनं किं पुनरपि कर्म कर्म नकारान्त नपुंसकलिंग प्रथमा एकवचनं इति अव्ययं कवयः कवि इकारान्त पुंलिंग प्रथमा बहुवचनं अपि अव्ययम् अत्र अव्ययं मोहिताः मोहिता अकारान्त पुंलिंग प्रथमा बहुवचनं तत् तत्शब्दस्य नकारान्त प्रथमा एकवचनं ते ते तु तत्शब्दस्य
ते कर्म प्रवक्ष्यामि. So here te is Yushmad Shabdasya
Chaturdhina. Okay.
To you. I am telling you.
कर्म कर्म नकारान्त पुंलिंग प्रथमा नकारान्त नपुंसकलिंग प्रथमा एकवचनं प्रवक्ष्यामि प्रा उपसर्ग पक्ष कर्मणि शब्दं वच् धातु कर्मणि प्रवक्ष्यामि उत्तमपुरुष एकवचनं
कर्मणि वा कर्तरि वा
कर्मणि प्रवक्ष्यामि
लृट् लकारस्य उत्तमपुरुष एकवचनं किं भवति वच् धातोः एकवारं
प्रवक्ष्यामि
लृट् लृट् అంటే భవిష్యత్ కాలే
ఫ్యూచర్ టెన్స్
so that also will come as vakshyami, like that only it will come vakshyati vakshyami. Yeah, so this is kartari only.
कर्तरि लृट् उत्तमपुरुष एकवचनं वच् धातु प्रा उपसर्ग वच् धातु लृट् एकवचनं यत् शब्दस्य नकारान्त प्रथमा एकवचनं ज्ञात्वा ज्ञाधातु त्वान्तं मोक्ष्यसे मोक्ष्यसे सप्तमी एकवचनं
मोक्ष्यसे
मध्यमपुरुष एकवचनं
this also is
ఇది కూడా లృట్ అవుతుంది
కరెక్ట్. సో ముచ్ ధాతోః లృట్ లకార మధ్యమపురుష ఏకవచనం కర్తరి ప్రయోగే एव.
अशुभात् अकारान्त पुंलिंगं नपुंसकलिंगं न जानामि पंचमी एकवचनं
पुंलिंगमेव. अस्तु.
पदार्थः कर्म कर्मस्वरूपं किं कथं भूतम् अकर्म अकर्मस्वरूपं किम् इति अत्र किमिति स्वरूपविषये कवयः अपि पण्डिताः अपि मोहिताः मोहं गताः ततः कर्मस्वरूपं ते तुभ्यं प्रवक्ष्यामि कथयिष्यामि यत् कर्म ज्ञात्वा विदित्वा अशुभात् अश्रेयसः मोक्ष्यसे विमुच्यसे अन्वयः किं कर्म किम् अकर्म इति कवयः अपि अत्र मोहिताः तत् ते कर्म प्रवक्ष्यामि यत् ज्ञात्वा अशुभात् मोक्ष्यसे आकांक्षा मोहिताः के मोहिताः कवयः मोहिताः कथं कवयः मोहिताः किं कर्म किम् अकर्म इति कवयः मोहिताः किं कर्म किम् अकर्म इति कवयः कुत्र मोहिताः किं कर्म किम् अकर्म इति कवयः अत्र मोहिताः किं कर्म किम् अकर्म इति कवयः अत्र मोहिताः तेन किं कर्म किम् अकर्म इति कवयः अत्र मोहिताः तत् वक्ष्यामि किं कर्म किम् अकर्म इति कवयः अत्र मोहिताः तत् किं वक्ष्यामि किं कर्म किम् अकर्म इति कवयः अत्र मोहिताः तत् कर्म वक्ष्यामि किं कर्म किम् अकर्म इति कवयः अत्र मोहिताः तत् कस्मै कर्म वक्ष्यामि किं कर्म किम् अकर्म इति कवयः अत्र मोहिताः तत् ते कर्म वक्ष्यामि किं कर्म किम् अकर्म इति कवयः अत्र मोहिताः तत् ते कर्म वक्ष्यामि एतेन किं कर्म किम् अकर्म इति कवयः अत्र मोहिताः तत् ते कर्म वक्ष्यामि मोक्ष्यसे किं कर्म किम् अकर्म इति कवयः अत्र मोहिताः तत् ते कर्म वक्ष्यामि कस्मात् मोक्ष्यसे किं कर्म किम् अकर्म इति कवयः अत्र मोहिताः तत् ते कर्म वक्ष्यामि अशुभात् मोक्ष्यसे किं कर्म किम् अकर्म क्षम्यतां भगिनि
पठतु भगिनि
किं कर्म किम् अकर्म इति कवयः अत्र मोहिताः तत् ते कर्म वक्ष्यामि किं कृत्वा अशुभात् मोक्ष्यसे किं कर्म किम् अकर्म इति कवयः अत्र मोहिताः तत् ते कर्म वक्ष्यामि ज्ञात्वा अशुभात् मोक्ष्यसे किं कर्म किम् अकर्म इति कवयः अत्र मोहिताः तत् ते कर्म वक्ष्यामि किं ज्ञात्वा अशुभात् मोक्ष्यसे किं कर्म किम् अकर्म इति कवयः अत्र मोहिताः तत् ते कर्म वक्ष्यामि यत् कर्म ज्ञात्वा अशुभात् मोक्ष्यसे तात्पर्यम् किं कर्तव्यं किम् अकर्तव्यम् इति विषये पण्डिताः अपि भ्रान्ताः आसन् अतः तत् गूढं रहस्यं ते कथयामि यत् ज्ञात्वा अश्रेयसः विमुक्तः भविष्यसि व्याकरणं सन्धिः अकर्मेति अकर्म प्लस् इति गुणसन्धिः कवयोपि कवयः प्लस् अपि विसर्गसन्धिः सकारः रेफः उकारः गुणः पूर्वरूपं च अप्यत्र अपि अत्र एण्सन्धिः यत् ज्ञात्वा यत् प्लस् ज्ञात्वा यस्त्वसन्धिः चुस्त्वसन्धिः मोक्षसे अशुभात् मोक्षसे प्लस् अशुभात् पूर्वरूपसन्धिः समासः अकर्म न कर्म नयि तत्पुरुषः अशुभात् न शुभं तस्मात् नयि तत्पुरुषः कृदन्तः मोहिताः मुह्यु धातु निच् प्रत्ययं ता कर्मणि.
So here what are the kriya padas that we have? Padani kriya padani.
प्रवक्ष्यामि मोक्षसे मोहिताः.
Mohitaha. Okay. So here first what is the sentence in the Anvaya if we look? Kim karma kim akarma iti kavayaha api atra mohitaha. So kim karma asti kim akarma asti iti mohitaha kavayaha or kavayaha mohitaha bhavanti. Okay. So kavayaha means scholars, not just a poet. Here it is used in the context of scholars, like even panditaha. What is karma and what is akarma? Even the pandits have a confusion. Okay, kavayaha mohitaha bhavanti iti. So even the scholars get confused. Here mohitaha is a confusion. They get confused by what is karma and what is akarma. Okay, te ataha tat aham te pravakshyami. That is why, because even the scholars get confused about what is karma and what is akarma. So that is why I am going to tell you. Aham te karma pravakshyami. So what that karma is? about karma. What is karma? What is akarma? What is vikarma? That I am going to tell you. Aham pravakshyami. Yat jnatva tvam ashubhat mokshyase. Since mokshyase is in Madhyama Purusha, we can take adhyahritam of tvam. Ataha tvam yat jnatva, knowing that, knowing what is karma and what is akarma. Ashubhat mokshyase, you get free from all the ashubham. Because by doing akarmas, you can get ashubham. But knowing what is karma and what is akarma, you will keep yourself away from akarmas. Then you will be free from ashubham. Okay. So here we have to take the karma and akarma. The akarma, we have to take it as ashuddham or nishiddha karmas. Okay. Here also it is given, no, in the Tatparyam or in the Padartha, it is given as akarma, where are we? Akarma Swarupam. Akarma Swarupam, it is given, or Nishiddha karmas also we can take. Here the meaning of akarma can be taken as Nishiddha karmas, means which should not be done. Okay, the karmas which should not be done. Otherwise, there is another meaning of akarma which follows in the next shloka. There, akarma means not doing any karma. So, two kinds of meanings are there. In this context, we have to take akarma as nishiddha karma, or vikarma, we can take it as nishiddha karma, or karma which is not done properly, and akarma as nishiddha karma. Like in the example that in the story that we referred, where the king and the three ministers are there, the first one has done karma. He did as it is what he was ordered. The second person did the karma, but he did not do it perfectly with shraddha. That is vikarma. And the third person did not do at all what the king asked him to do. That is akarma. Like that we can take. Okay, so that is the difference. That story is also meant for us to understand the difference between karma, vikarma, and akarma. In this shloka, we are referred to as or it is being referred to only with karma and akarma. Vikarma comes in the next shloka. So here we can break up this sentence into 4 parts or 5 parts also. The first part, karma kim asti or kim karma asti, what is karma? That is one, where asti we take as adhyahritam. Kim akarma asti, what is akarma? That is the second. Asti again we take as adhyahritam. Iti kavayaha mohitaha bhavanti. So about what is karma and what is akarma. By this, okay, kavayaha mohitaha bhavanti. So kavayaha will be the kartrupadam, mohitaha will be videya visheshana to kavayaha, and bhavanti again adhyahritam swikaraniyam. So the pandits are also getting confused. So mohitaha is referring to the pandits who are confused. So that will become the videya visheshana. So that is why aham te, for you, karma pravakshyami. I am explaining, or I will tell you about what karma is. Then the last part of the sentence, yat jnatva. Here yat refers to the karma in the previous line. Yat jnatva, knowing that, tvam ashubhat mokshyase, knowing that you free yourself from ashubham, okay, by not performing the akarmas. So that is the meaning here of this shloka. And we have in the Vyakarana the sandhis, guna sandhi, visarga sandhi, and sandhi, jashtvam and shutvam. Then we have akarma, na karma, naitat purusha, ashubhat, na shubham. So this is also naitat purusha. The word is in Panchami, so tasmat. Mohitaha, muh dhatoho, ktha pratyayam. Okay. So the next shloka. Ravishankar Mahodaya, patitum ichchati va?
पठामि महोदय श्रूयते वा
श्रूयते पठतु
कर्मणो ह्यपि बोद्धव्यम् बोद्धव्यं च विकर्मणः अकर्मणश्च बोद्धव्यं गहना कर्मणो गतिः पदविभागः कर्मणः कि अपि बोद्धव्यं च विकर्मणः अकर्मणः च बोद्धव्यं गहना कर्मणः गतिः अन्वयः
पदपरिचयं
कर्म
वदतु।
पदपरिचयम् कर्मणः नकारान्तः नपुंसकलिङ्गः कर्मन् शब्दः षष्ठीविभक्ति एकवचनं हि अव्ययं बोद्धव्यं बुध धातु
तव्यत् प्रत्ययं
नपुंसकलिंग प्रथमा विभक्ति एकवचनं च अव्ययं विकर्मणः विकर्मन् नपुंसकलिंगः विकर्मन् शब्दः षष्ठी विभक्ति एकवचनं अकर्मणः अकर्मन् शब्दः नपुंसकलिंगः षष्ठी विभक्ति एकवचनं बोद्धव्यं पुनरपि बुद्ध धातोः तव्यत् गहना आकारान्तः स्त्रीलिङ्गः गहना शब्दः प्रथमा विभक्ति एकवचनं कर्मणः कर्मन् शब्दः षष्ठी विभक्ति नपुंसकलिङ्गः षष्ठी विभक्ति एकवचनं गतिः इकारान्तः स्त्रीलिङ्गः गति शब्दः प्रथमा विभक्ति एकवचनं अन्वयः कर्मणः अपि स्वरूपं बोद्धव्यम् अकर्मणः च स्वरूपं बोद्धव्यं विकर्मणः अपि च स्वरूपं बोद्धव्यं तस्मात् कर्मणः गतिः गहना कर्मणः गतिः गहना आकांक्षा गहना का गहना गतिः गहना कस्य गतिः गहना कर्मणः गतिः गहना कथं कर्मणः गतिः गहना बोद्धव्यं तस्मात् अध्याहर्तव्यं कर्मणः गतिः गहना किं बोद्धव्यं यस्मात् अध्याहर्तव्यं कर्मणः गतिः गहना कर्मणः स्वरूपं अध्याहर्तव्यं बोद्धव्यं तस्मात् कर्मणः गतिः गहना कर्मणः स्वरूपं बोद्धव्यं पुनश्च किं बोद्धव्यं यस्मात् कर्मणः गतिः गहना कर्मणः स्वरूपं बोद्धव्यं विकर्मणः स्वरूपं बोद्धव्यं तस्मात् कर्मणः गतिः गहना कर्मणः स्वरूपं बोद्धव्यं विकर्मणः स्वरूपं बोद्धव्यं पुनश्च किं बोद्धव्यं यस्मात् कर्मणः गतिः गहना कर्मणः स्वरूपं बोद्धव्यं विकर्मणः स्वरूपं बोद्धव्यम् अकर्मणः च स्वरूपं बोद्धव्यं तस्मात् कर्मणः गतिः गहना तात्पर्यं कर्म विहितं निषिद्धं विधिनिषेधरहितं चेति त्रिविधं कर्म विहितं निषिद्धं विधिनिषेधरहितं च इति त्रिविधम् एतस्य त्रिविधस्यापि कर्मणः स्वरूपं यथावत् ज्ञातव्यं किन्तु एतत् अत्यन्तं क्लेशेन अवगन्तव्यम् रामानुजीयमतं कर्म मोक्षसाधनभूतं कर्म विकर्म नित्यनैमित्तिक काम्यरूपेण तत्साधन द्रव्यार्जनाद्याकारेण विविधताम् आपन्नं कर्म अकर्म ज्ञानम् व्याकरणं संधिः कर्मणो हि कर्मणः हि विसर्गसन्धिः रेफः उकारः गुणः ह्यपि हि अपि यण् संधिः अकर्मणश्च अकर्मणः च विसर्गसन्धिः सकारः श्चुत्वम् कृदन्तः बोद्धव्यं बुध धातु तव्यत् कर्मणि बोद्धव्यम् गतिः गमलृ धातु तिन् प्रत्यय भावे महोदय
So here we have bodhavyam. We have
and gahana.
bodhavyam. And last one is karmanaha
Gahana.
gatihi gahana bhavati. There we can take bhavati as adhyahritam. Karmanaha gatihi gahana bhavati. Okay. So here the first bodhavyam. Karmanaha api swarupam bodhavyam. Karmanaha swarupam bodhavyam. Okay, the swarupa of the karmas should be known.
No.
Bodhavyam, jnatavyam. So should be known. Akarmanaha swarupam api bodhavyam. So one should understand the swarupam of the akarmas also. Similarly, vikarmanaha swarupam api bodhavyam. Should also understand or know the swarupam of the vikarma. Tasmat karmanaha gatihi gahana. So the karmas or the knowledge here, gatihi is taken as jnanam. The jnanam of the karmas means understanding what is a karma, what is a karma, what is vikarma. Knowing this is a very difficult path. Understanding this itself is very difficult. So here also in the Tatparyam, karma vihitam, nishiddham, vidhi nishedha rahitam, cha iti trividham. Okay, one is vihita karmas, means that which we have to do, our responsibilities. Then nishiddham, that we should not do, that which we should not do. Vidhi nishedha rahitam, cha iti trividham. Vidhi nishedha rahitam means, how can we take that? Vidhi nishedha rahitam. That which is not nishiddham, nishedha rahitam, means that which is not prohibited.
Prohibited by vidhi.
Which is not prohibited. But which we have to also understand. Maybe it is not prohibited by the vidhi. But we have to choose whether we can do that or not, maybe. Okay,
it is not prohibited by vidhi.
It is not, yes, it is not prohibited by vidhi.
But you have to choose whether you have to do it or not to do
it. Exactly. That is what I'm saying. So that is when we have to use our buddhi, whether that needs to be done or not.
Or not done, yes.
Etasya trividhasyapi karmanaha swarupam yathavat jnatavyam. And this can be very difficult to understand. Atyantam kleshena avagamatam. So here in the Ramanujiya matam, the karma is defined as moksha sadhana bhutam karma. Vikarma is defined as nitya naimittika kamya rupena tat sadhana dravyarjana adhyakarena
dravyarjanadya akarena
vividhatam apannam karma. So that which is vikarma is nitya naimittika kamya rupena, what we need on a daily basis for us to survive. For that, whatever we do can be taken as vikarma.
Whatever we are doing at present also.
Here it is taken as jnanam. Why akarma is defined here as jnanam is, like once you attain that state of siddhi, you need not do any karmas because you have already attained the state of siddhi. So that is why akarma is known as jnanam. Or here it doesn't mean physically not doing any work. It is not like that. We should understand it as you are doing it with so much of detachment that it is like akarma, that it is like that karma is not touching you at all. So with that, so like how that Madalasa was performing her duties without any kind of attachment. So in her sense, she's not really doing anything. She's already in that state. So in that, after attaining jnanam, whatever you do, the karmas will be there, but they are not touched by you. They don't touch you at all. Yes. Okay. So here we have the sandhis, the young sandhi and all. Bodhavyam tavyat pratyayam of the buddh dhatu and gatihi kthin pratyayam of the gam dhatu. Okay. So, any
Dhanyawad.
questions in this shloka? Okay. No chet, Lakshmi Narayan Mahodaya.
पठामि मध्ये
Ah.
कर्मण्यकर्म यः पश्येद् अकर्मणि च कर्म यः स बुद्धिमान् मनुष्येषु स युक्तः कृत्स्नकर्मकृत् पद कर्मणि अकर्म यः पश्येद् अकर्मणि च कर्म यः सः बुद्धिमान् मनुष्येषु सः युक्तः कृत्स्नकर्मकृत्
Padaparichayam.
पदपरिचयं कर्मणि कर्मन् नपुंसक सप्तमी विभक्ति एकवचन अकर्म अकर्मन् नपुंसक द्वितीया विभक्ति एकवचन यः यद् सर्वनाम पुल्लिंग प्रथमा विभक्ति एकवचन पश्येत् दृश्य धातु परस्मैपदी विधिलिंग कर्तरि प्रथम पुरुष एकवचन अकर्मणि अकर्मन् नपुंसकलिंग सप्तमी विभक्ति एकवचन च अव्यय कर्म कर्मन् नपुंसकलिंग द्वितीया विभक्ति एकवचन यः यद् सर्वनाम पुल्लिंग प्रथम विभक्ति एकवचन सः तत् सर्वनाम पुल्लिंग प्रथम विभक्ति एकवचन बुद्धिमान् बुद्धिमत् शब्द पुल्लिंग प्रथम विभक्ति एकवचन मनुष्येषु मनुष्य पुल्लिंग सप्तमी विभक्ति एकवचन
बहुवचन
सः मनुष्येषु बहुवचन सः हि तत् तत् सर्वनाम शब्द पुल्लिंग प्रथम विभक्ति एकवचन युक्तः युक्त पुल्लिंग प्रथम विभक्ति एकवचन कृत्स्नकर्मकृत् कृत्स्नकर्मकृत् पुल्लिंग प्रथम विभक्ति एकवचन
अंते सो अन्वयम्
अन्वय पदार्थ यः यः पुरुषः कर्मणि व्यापारे अकर्म व्यापाराभावात् अकर्मणि व्यापाराभावे कर्म च व्यापारं च पश्येत् वीक्षेत सः पुरुषः मनुष्येषु मानवेषु बुद्धिमान् धीमान् युक्तः समाहितः सः पुरुषः कृत्स्नकर्मकृत् सकलकर्मकर्ता अन्वयः यः कर्मणि अकर्मणि च कर्म पश्येत् सः मनुष्येषु बुद्धिमान् युक्तः कृत्स्नकर्मकृत् आकांक्षा पश्येत् किं पश्येत् अकर्म पश्येत् कुत्र अकर्म पश्येत् कर्मणि अकर्म पश्येत् कर्मणि अकर्म पश्येत् अकर्मणि च किं पश्येत् कर्मणि अकर्म पश्येत् अकर्मणि च कर्म पश्येत् यः कर्मणि अकर्म पश्येत् यः अकर्मणि च कर्म सः कीदृशः यः कर्मणि अकर्म पश्येत् यः अकर्मणि च कर्म सः बुद्धिमान् यः कर्मणि अकर्म पश्येत् यः अकर्मणि च कर्म सः केषु बुद्धिमान् यः कर्मणि अकर्म पश्येत् यः अकर्मणि च कर्म सः मनुष्येषु बुद्धिमान् यः कर्मणि अकर्म पश्येत् यः अकर्मणि च कर्म सः मनुष्येषु बुद्धिमान् सः पुनश्च कीदृशः यः कर्मणि अकर्म पश्येत् यः अकर्मणि च कर्म सः मनुष्येषु बुद्धिमान् सः कृत्स्नकर्मकृत् यः कर्मणि अकर्म पश्येत् यः अकर्मणि च कर्म सः मनुष्येषु बुद्धिमान् कीदृशः सा कृष्णकर्मकृत् यः कर्मणि अकर्म पश्येत् यः अकर्मणि च कर्म सः मनुष्येषु बुद्धिमान् युक्तः सः कृष्णकर्मकृत्। तात्पर्यं यः पुरुषः स्वकृते कर्मणि फलापेक्षा शून्यत्वं फलापेक्षया कृते कर्मणि स्वेन अकृतत्वं च पश्यति सः बुद्धिमान् स एव च सकलकर्मकारी। कृतेपि कर्माणि यः फलापेक्षां न करोति फलापेक्षया कृते कर्मणि स्वकृतत्वाभावं च निर्णयति तादृशः पुरुषः प्राज्ञः सकलकर्मकारी इति यावत्। माध्वमतं कर्मणि क्रियमाणे सति मया एतत् न क्रियते भगवानेव कारयति इति स्वकीयचेष्टारहितायां सुषुप्त्यावस्थायां भगवानेव स्वप्नादिकं दर्शयति इति यः विजानाति सः बुद्धिमान् सर्वकर्मकृति इति उच्यते। व्याकरणं संधिः कर्मण्यकर्म कर्मणि प्लस अकर्म यण् संधि पश्येदकर्मणि पश्येत् अकर्मणि जष्ट संधि स बुद्धिमान् सः बुद्धिमान् विसर्ग संधि लोप समासः अकर्म न कर्म नञ् तत्पुरुष कृष्णकर्मकृत् कृष्णं कर्म कृष्णकर्म कर्मधारय कृष्णकर्म करोति कृष्णकर्मकृत् कर्तरि क्विप् उपपद समासश्च तद्धितान्तः बुद्धिमान् बुद्धि प्लस मतुप् बुद्धि यस्य या अस्मिन् अस्ति।
अस्तु। सो अत्र क्रियापदानि कानि?
पश्येत्
पश्येत्। So karmani akarma yaha pashyet. So he who sees akarma in the karmas. Okay, there will be karmas. In that we should be able to recognize karma and
differentiate.
So here akarma means without action. It is not a bad action. It is without action. So many times when we are doing certain things, we think we are not doing. And when we are not doing anything, sometimes we think we are doing something. That is the biggest confusion that most people have. So that we should be able to recognize. That only a buddhiman, he who recognizes that is a buddhiman, and he will be kritsna karmakrit. He will be a kritsna karmakrit, means he has the complete knowledge of the karmas, or how do you say, understanding about the karmas. Only once we get the understanding of the karmas, we will be able to disassociate ourselves with the karma. We should be thinking that or we will understand that we are not the karta of that karma. Only then we will be able to understand that we are not the karta. Why we should understand that? Because the confusion is arising because we are taking the kartrutvam with everything. We are thinking we are the reason for this.
We are only doing the,
and because of that, because we think we are doing, we are also getting this phalakanksha. Or because of the phalakanksha, we are getting this kartrutvam. They both are kind of interrelated. So because of that only, this attachment is coming. So to break the attachment, we should not have the phalakanksha. To not have the phalakanksha, we should be able to understand about the karma and akarma. Because even when there is no action being performed or when there is no karma being done, we are thinking we are doing something there, which will again give rise to that attachment. So that we should be able to see. And understanding the difference between karma and akarma is very difficult, like how it was told in the previous shloka. So that only comes with practice. We should be able to understand that. So here, karmani akarma yaha pashyet. Saha, and again, yaha akarmani karma pashyet. Saha manushyeshu buddhiman asti. That is the connection. So here we have two conditions. One condition is yaha karmani akarma pashyet. He who sees akarma in the karmas, and he who sees karmas in the akarma. In the akarma, he who sees karmas, and he who sees akarma in the karmas. That person is buddhiman. Among all the men, he is the buddhiman. And he will be kritsna karma krit. Kritsna karma. Kritsna means
Krishna means in totality.
totality.
Sakala.
Only he who has a complete understanding of the karmas and the akarmas, only he can also understand completely about all kinds of karmas, and he will understand what he is doing or what he is not doing, or until where he is responsible. In that way, we can take kritsna karma krit, sakala karma karta. So here again, by karta, we know that though we are doing, that kartrutvam will not be there. That also we have to understand. So here we can take pashyet. The second pashyet we can take as adhyahritam. So the first sentence will be yaha karmani akarma pashyet. And then second sentence will be yaha akarmani karma pashyet. The second pashyet we can take as adhyahritam and join these two with cha. Join these two with cha. Saha. So yaha pashyet. Saha. The yat and tat shabda here we can join with nitya sambandha. Manushyeshu buddhiman asti. That is all one sentence. It is a little complex, but that all comes under one sentence. Saha yuktaha kritsna karma krit bhavati. Okay, or asti. Asti or bhavati you can take as adhyahritam. So that kind of person, or that kind of person who is intelligent, yuktaha kritsna karma krit bhavati. Okay, he will become the person who has a complete understanding of the karmas.
So yuktaha yogi.
Yogi or samahitaha. Here it is samahitaha. Means he has a complete understanding. So he will become a wise person. Or jnanavan. We can also say he becomes a jnanavan, buddhiman, like that. So here let us look at the tatparyam given once. Yaha purushaha swakrite karmani phalapeksha shunyatvam phalaapekshaya krite karmani svena akritatvam cha pashyati saha buddhiman saha eva cha sakala karmakari. So in the works, so what is karmani akarma and akarmani karma? So in the karmas that we do, swakrite karmani, in the karmas that we do, phalapeksha shunyatvam. So we should not have any kind of phalapeksha in the karmas that we do. That is karmani akarma. That is what is called as karmani akarma. In the karmas that we do, akarma means we are not having any phalapeksha, so it is akarma. Phalapekshaya krite karmani svena akritatvam cha pashyati. So that which we do with phalapeksha, in that we should see akritatvam. Akritatvam means we should not, that karma is not even a proper karma that what the Paramatma wants us to do, because we have phalapeksha in that. So that is considered as akarma. Okay, saha buddhiman. So a karma is considered as a karma or satkarma only when we do it with phalapeksha, without phalapeksha. If we do with phalapeksha, then it is not even considered as a satkarma. Here, if we add the word sat, then it becomes easy for us to understand. Because as per Paramatma, we are expected to do satkarmas, right? So karma is equal to satkarma. Now, akarma is that which is done with phalapeksha. When you do karma with phalapeksha, it is called akarma.
Akarma.
It is not satkarma anymore. It is akarma. Why? Because you are doing it with phalapeksha. It is not counted. It is not counted. It does not fall into your good list, because you are doing with phalapeksha. Only when you do karmas without phalapeksha, then you will be considered as doing your duty with shraddha. Otherwise, you are doing it for satisfying your indriyas. Phalakanksha means some kind of indriya is getting satisfied, right? Either, when you are growing a plant for some phalapeksha, means you have the desire to enjoy the fruits of that tree.
That fruit.
For your own self.
Yes,
Even
yes.
if you are giving it to somebody for the reason of satisfying your ego. Sometimes many people do that also, which is definitely better than to satisfy your own indriya. You give it to others, but you feel good about it. Oh, I have given that. That is why they are able to enjoy. I have done such a big thing for them. If we do it with that sense also, it is a karma only. Because you are again gaining some kind of pleasure out of giving it to somebody. You have to give. It is not you who is giving. We have to understand it is not I who am giving. It is Paramatma who is giving it to them. I am only an instrument there.
Instrumental in that.
I have nothing to do with this. Then it is called karma. But if we do with any kind of expectation in any form to gain pleasure of our own self, then it is called akarma. So that is how we can differentiate between karma and akarma. कृतेपि कर्मणि यः फलापेक्षां न करोति फलापेक्षया कृते कर्मणि स्वकृतत्वाभावं न निर्णयति तादृशः पुरुषः प्राज्ञः सकलकर्मकारीति यावत्. So the second part of the Tatparyam, the second sentence in the Tatparyam, Kritepi karmani, in the karmas that we do, yaha phalapeksham na karoti, who does not have phalapeksha in the karmas that he does, or phalapekshaya krite karmani swakritatva bhavam cha nirnayati, swakritatva bhavam. Means there is phalapeksha. You are growing a tree for some fruits, but those fruits are not for your purpose. It is to give away. And even in that giving away, you should not take any credit. Then tadrishaha purushaha prajnaha. That kind of person will be known as prajnaha and karmakari iti yavat. And then he is known as somebody who is knowledgeable. Knowledge in the sense jnanavan, not regular knowledge, jnanam. Okay, with that jnanam, we have to do our karmas. Then that attachment to the karmas will not touch us. That will come in the next shloka. It will be burnt in that jnanagni. Once we have that jnanam, then whatever karmas that we do, that attachment of those karmas will burn in the jnanam, in the jnanagni that we have. Because that jnanam acts in favor of us without getting attached to the phalakanksha. So that way we will not be touched. So that is how the karmas should be done, without any phalakanksha. That jnanam we should constantly have in our mind. We should not think, I am the doer of this karma. If we do without any kind of phalakanksha, then that jnanam constantly, if we remember, if we practice remembering or having that jnanam continuously in every work that we do, then that jnanagni will burn the attachment. We will be doing our karmas, but we are not touched by any karmas because we don't have any kind of phalakanksha. And that is where we can apply this Madalasa story, that mother's story with the sons who she is raising them without any kind of expectation from them. And finally, everybody has to obtain the Tattva Jnana. That is why she was singing the Tattva Jnana to her children, because that is the ultimate goal that one has to reach. So she's just preaching what she believes in. She has no other kanksha. She does not desire for them to become great kings or acquire this, acquire that. No, nothing. Only as a duty she was performing her thing without any kind of attachment. So here we have the sandhis, and then akarma, na karma naitat purusha, kritsna karma krit, kritsnam karma, kritsna karma, karma dharaya. So this is Visheshana Purvapada Karma Dharaya. Kritsnam karma is Visheshana Purvapada Karma Dharaya. Kritsna karma karoti, kritsna karma krit. This is Upapada Samasa. Buddhiman is Matup, the Tadhittanta. Buddhi asmin va asti. Buddhiman, Shriman, like that. Shuravan, Shuryavan,
Matu.
like those come under Matu.
Matu Pratyay.
Astu. So Anantaram. So we shall stop here. It is almost time. So any questions until this shloka?
So it will be a little difficult only to understand in one go.
Yeah, that needs abhyasa. That is why it is given in the shloka itself, right? This is very difficult to understand. Mohitaha. Even the scholars are getting confused. That is why I am explaining it to you again. So this is very difficult to gahana karmano gatihi. Understanding, obtaining this knowledge is very, very difficult. It is told, that is why it is told in the shloka also. So only one thing we have to understand is phalakanksha na bhavet. Anything that we do, that slowly we can put it into practice. Not having phalakanksha, letting go is a very simple thing. Once we understand and put it into practice, our life will become much easier. Letting go in many aspects, not only in the karmas. Sometimes we get upset with what others criticize, how they criticize, what they say. They have their own problems. That is the reason why they criticize to start with. But once we get it into our heads and we start being bothered by those, we cannot do what we want to do. So we have to see how much truth is there in that criticism. If there is really something that we can correct, we should correct. Otherwise, we have to let it go. Then our life will be a lot simpler. Only think constantly what I am doing, is it right or wrong? Am I going in the right path? Am I hurting anybody by doing this? If it hurts involuntarily, we cannot do anything. We are not doing voluntarily, but sometimes what we do can hurt others because they are not in a position to understand what we are doing. That we cannot help, of course. If given the opportunity and if they are ready to understand, we can explain, but otherwise we have to let it go. But letting go is a big thing, letting go of the hurt that we get from others. Once we start practicing to let go of that, I think we will have so much of energy and time to practice this sadhana, which is more useful to us to take us into the next level in this path. If we are held back by the grudges that we have against others, we can never move forward. We can never move forward. We will be wasting so much of energy and time, always thinking about what others have, what injustice has been done to us constantly. We are wasting our time there only. Nothing can be done. We cannot rectify it. We cannot move forward thinking about that for so many years. Nothing can be done. Only time and energy are getting wasted. That if we realize and let go, we can move forward in our own path. That is one thing we can start with to start. And then phalakanksha also, letting go of that also will put us in a very peaceful state. Okay, so let us stop here. Bhagini?
भगिनी सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। धन्यवाद भगिनी, नमस्कारः सर्वेभ्यः, नमस्कारः, धन्यवादः।